gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
What's going on, Billboarders? This is Doom Kitty, and I'm sitting here next to a guy who might be actually one of the most interesting guys in music, and you don't even know about it yet. Ladies and gentlemen, this is James Blunt.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Welcome to Hong Kong.
Nice to be here.
This is, I don't think this is your first time coming through Asia, is it?
No, I've been a bunch of times, and Hong Kong is always a highlight, just because, you know, it's just an amazing city. I've got some friends here, and our concerts are always fun here.
You found international success right off the first album, but it's something I think you're probably sick to death talking about because, again, a lot of people out here may not know this. The one song, You're Beautiful, became huge, became ubiquitous, I think is the right word for it. And then there was a bit of a backlash against it. There were a lot of people who sort of had an issue with it. I know you're still dealing with that to this day, to an extent. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, becoming a musician, becoming, you know, a first album success, and then dealing with the backlash.
Yeah, I think we instantly over exaggerate on any backlash in the first place. You know, everyone dreams and wishes for a huge song, and I was really lucky enough to have that huge song. And then when something is out there, and then you're likely to get some negative comment on it. And Coldplay get negative comment now. And if you turn around and say Coldplay are a terrible band, then you're an idiot and you're just trying to be fashionable or trendy by saying something contentious, because they're an amazing band with an amazing sound, with amazing songs. Ed Sheeran, all over the place, and people are rude about him and his success because he's the guy with his head above the parapet, and I was that guy at that time. And you know what, when we go online, we see 5 negative tweets, and we focus on those 5 negative tweets. So in an interview, I might be asked about 5 negative tweets. But I'm going to be playing to a few thousand people tonight, and I'm doing a world tour to a few million people, and yet I might be asked about 5 negative tweets. So we exaggerate it, and it's kind of funny that we should do that, and I think it's kind of also disrespectful to the people who really love the song, because they way outnumber any of the negatives, and that's why those songs are number 1 in the charts, and why my house is quite as comfortable as it is.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. I saw your face.
You've made a point of being very active on Twitter, of being very personable, expressing yourself very openly. I mean, tell me a little bit about the choice to do that, because I know a lot of people might have been a little more cautious with social media.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily be on it unless my record label wanted me to, because it seems kind of an ego-based thing of wanting to voice your own opinion as if your opinion mattered or was in any way, correct or more important than anyone else's. But they said, go on, market your music, and I thought, well, I'll just mess around a little bit. But Twitter's for me, it's like a school notice board in a corridor, and you can put up anything you want. And it's just strange that people would put up nasty things about people who are in the same school as them, who are going to walk past and see these things. And so rather than just leave that notice board with that nasty comment, I thought I'd just write something underneath it. But it didn't have to be nasty to them. It was just really laughing at ourselves for taking ourselves so seriously on Twitter, because just because you can voice your opinion, it doesn't mean you should.
We've got to talk about the latest album, The Afterlove. Came out about a year ago. You've been touring in support of it, I think, since about June, July?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me a little bit about this album. I mean, what were you trying to do with it, and what do you think you did do with it?
Well, I think fundamentally I wanted to do something special. I'd had 4 albums in the past, which I love, and they're beautiful, but they're all connected in many ways as a guy who writes a song on a guitar and brings his band in and develops them in that way. I didn't want to be locked in a studio, and so I wanted to have a bit of life and excitement to the way I wrote and recorded. But fundamentally, I had a few things that were really inspiring to write about, some of them tragic and some of them really exciting and wonderful. And so I went away and I wrote about those things that had happened. I wrote over 100 songs, and I put 10 on the album, and they're, for me, super strong, super special songs, and it's an exciting album as a result.
But baby, then you love me. You love me better. There's been
Ed Sheeran, of course, everyone's talking about him these days. You guys have known each other a long time. I know he's talked about The A-Team, his first real big song, and sort of looking up to you as sort of a precursor to what he'd been doing. Tell me a little bit about that relationship.
He and I both were managed by Elton John's management firm called Rocket Music, and we crossed in a corridor and nodded, and then met a few more times and realised we both had a mutual love of alcohol.
Good thing to like.
And we haven't looked back since. And for me, it's been a great pleasure writing songs with him. I've toured with him for 3.5 months around the States. And he's a pretty talented dude, so keep a listen out for him. He's going to be big one day.
One day. Now, I do have to point out to people who haven't checked it out, another great reason to check out your Twitter feed is that earlier this month there's a great picture of you and him in a Hooters outfit. And I don't think I'm going to have to go into any more detail on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I was touring around the States with him for 3.5 months, and I was his bitch, and he made me dress up in whatever he liked, and that day, that's what he wanted me to wear.
Talking about collaborations, you've got another interesting one that I've got to bring up. I mean, it was released as a single. It's on the Afterlove as a super deluxe extra bonus track. This was a track with Robin Schulz, who's a German producer. It's called OK. And it seems to be a bit of a departure from, like you say, the sort of guy with guitar kind of stuff you've done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if you take away the heavy drum beat, it is just that. It's a guy on a guitar, as I wrote the song. And I didn't like the song. The record label said it's great. I thought it was just okay after its title. And,
oh, God.
And I said I don't want to put the song on my album. They were, upset. And I thought, I'm throwing this away, and I hope to never ever hear the song again. And then I bumped into Robin Schulz, who's a friend of mine, where I live in Ibiza, and he said, "Hey James, I've heard your song, and I'm taking it away, and I'm gonna screw with it and do my thing." And it's turned into a massive hit worldwide. I can't escape the song now. I hear it pretty much every
Feels
day,
familiar,
wherever
right?
I am, and I'm even going to play it tonight, and it's a highlight of the set. So at the end of the day, thank God for Robin Schulz.
Every ship is going down. I don't feel nothing when I hear you say it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
We've got to wrap this up. Before we do, what's coming up next for James Blunt? What's on the future?
Yeah, we're departing Hong Kong tomorrow. We head to Taiwan. We head through China, all of which will be great fun. And then we push on to Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, Europe, summer festivals. And sometime in September, I'll go home and wash my clothes.
I'm assuming start writing some new music at some point in the fall, maybe?
You sound like my record label. You've put me under the pressure.
They send us talking points. I was told to
Great.
prod the bear on that one.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. James, this has been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much.
Every star falls from the sky and every last heart in the world breaks.